Please unmute yourself.
Hello.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes,
now
yes.
it's okay.
All right. Good.
Okay, I think we can start our discussion for today. So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the IIT Delhi Alumni Fest, organized by the IIT Delhi Alumni Association as a part of IIT Delhi's Diamond Jubilee celebration. My name is Natasha Angural. I am IITD Alumni BTech, batch of 2015. I am currently working as Senior Manager in Quantitative Services at Bank of America. I am an EC member at IIT Delhi and convener of the subcommittees for virtual meetings and private networks. So our topic for the discussion for the afternoon is future of work. I would like to introduce our first speaker, Kushal Sen. Professor Kushal Sen did his BTech in textile chemistry in 1977 and later PhD in 1981 from IIT Delhi. He joined the institute as a faculty member in 1981 and is currently a professor. Current research areas of interest are electrically conducting textiles and textile chemical processing. Professor Sen has taken interest in educational technology and in the National Video Coordination of NEPTIL and also coordinator of the NEPTIL MOOCs at IIT Delhi. He was an instrument in running a 24/7 education channel, Eklavya from IIT Delhi. He remains associated with the students as warden, as housemaster, president of BSW, president BRCA, programming coordinator NSS. I welcome Professor Sen.
Hello. Good afternoon to all of you. As far as India is concerned, and I think people may be joining from different parts of the world. Some of you may be in the night. Welcome you all, friends. It's a Diamond Jubilee celebration. So IITD and the Alumni Association both are celebrating. Congratulations to all of us. Alumni have been a major part in making sure that IIT Delhi's name remains on the forefront. Uh, I would be talking about the education, which I am dealing with in so many years that I've spent at IIT Delhi. And so we'll be talking about teaching and learning. Some of the experiments that India has done till now, IIT Delhi and other IITs have been also involved. And one of the interesting things that we did is, work towards generating resources, whether the web-based resources or video-based resources. And that actually made sure that all IITs and even ISC Bangalore came together. So I'll be talking about the preparedness of the Indian educational institutes. Particularly, I'm speaking obviously for engineering education. And then what exactly had happened at IIT Delhi. Then something which we'll talk about the COVID era and hopefully the post-COVID era, how the education is going to be imparted and challenges that we actually face. I'm not sure whether you heard about a term Eklavya in the IIT Delhi context or let's say the NPTEL context. It was a channel which we started somewhere around 2001. We started transmitting videos on a Gyan Darshan channel for about 6 hours a day. And later in 2003, it became a 24/7 technology channel. We had an INSET 3C satellite, which helped us to do that. Now, of course, that satellite is no more. And we have a new satellite, and we today have under Swayam Prabha about 34 education channels in India, which deliver video content every day, 24/7. And out of them, about 6 are related to NPTEL. NPTEL relates to National Program on Technology Enhanced Learning. And under this program, we had many videos. So they also get about 6 NPTEL channels. And interestingly, about 112 channels are for class 1 to class 12. This is the whole country that I'm talking about. And we also have running from IIT Delhi a channel called PAL, IIT PAL, which is IIT Professor Assisted Learning for class 11 and class 12 in physics, chemistry, mathematics, and biology. That's the preparedness. Other than the Eklavya, we also had started, but as I said, NPTEL. uh, around 2003, 2004. You may or may not be aware of this. About 44,000 of video content in engineering education is available in English language, which probably is the highest in the world as a repository. Uh, it had reached the whole of India as far as the student community and teachers community are concerned, I believe so, and in the world also. And somewhere around 2014, we also thought that other than just having content which people can read and watch, which is in the VOD, that is the video on demand mode, uh, people said that we should make arrangements so that people, students or learners can get certificate as well. So we started what we call as NOC, which is NPTEL Online Certification Program in 2014. And from 2014 till today, we are running various courses in a MOOCs mode, like massive online open courses. And the difference between the rest of the world and this kind of NPTEL NOC program is that we do take final exam as a proctored exam. I don't know how many of you are aware that the GATE, for example, is a proctored exam, which is a national exam. So similarly, these courses are also given certificates to those who clear the courses in certain manner. For example, in this December, we had more than almost 800 courses whose exam was taken in December. More than 3 million students had enrolled for these courses from mainly from India and the rest from others also. But then this is the preparedness. Obviously, IIT Delhi was doing its job on chalk and talk, going to the classroom, in-person teaching, and so on and so forth. Come March, COVID, we had to stop. And what we did, the student had to go back, leave the hostel. They are even today in their homes. We have started taking online classes. It took some time for people to get used to this. And also the students, the resources also were there. And IIT Delhi was also working very hard to make sure that there are enough resources to get the education done. But what we have learned is delivering the content, whether offline or online, is not so much of a challenge. The challenge is the lab. So you will be surprised that IIT Delhi has decided that all the labs for semester 1 and semester 2 have been postponed, and they are likely to be happening in May and June of 2021 for both. And we're just doing the theory part of it. And the other biggest challenge that we are all facing is an exam itself. Although there are a lot of platforms which allow us to take exams and on whichever way we want to have the thing, the pedagogy obviously has changed. We are learning. But one thing which we don't know is how to ensure, even with the technology that we have, that it is a fair exam, that is nobody's copying. Everybody's at home, we are not proctoring, we can't watch. So some technologies are available. Teachers are using all kinds of technologies to make sure that all fairness is done. And the questions are being asked, who is responsible for the fairness in exam? The teacher or the students as well? Technology can help to an extent, but the technology can also make sure that people collaborate and not necessarily the fair manner. All that is there. So I think these are the challenges in which we are looking at. We're going to be having a major exam in January for the going through semester. And we will see how best we do. We've done minors, we've done quizzes and so on and so forth. So these are the challenges. This is how I believe the life is going to be. Even after post-COVID, at least some of us have understood that it's not a bad idea to actually have pre-recorded courses, share with them, and do a flip mode of teaching, where discussions can happen more in the class or online or offline, rather than just teach the same thing, which of course can be learned by, let's say, a video on demand kind of mode. I think I'll stop here and let's see some questions which come at a later stage in the discussion. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sen. We have our next speaker with us, Sachin Mittal. Sachin Mittal is the President and CEO of Indo-Kensho Services, which is a subsidiary of Lohia Corporation. He is an expert in helping business break into new markets with 25 years of experience across India, Japan, and USA. Sachin is currently running a venture under India's Lohia Group, which is preparing young Indians and bringing them to Japan for creating a new future for them. In the process, he is creating a strong ecosystem for Japanese companies who want to build successful business in India. Sachin also has the credentials for abroad membership in USA, Japan, as well as in India. Welcome to the forum, Mr. Sachin. Hand over.
Thank you, Dhanyavad. Namaskar. Let me project. Are you able to see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going right after Professor Sen. I had the good luck of being a student of Professor Sen, and it's such an honor to be speaking right after him. Thank you, sir. So let's go with the presentation. I don't know how many of you have seen, but this is the IIT gate on the day of inauguration of IIT campus when it was dedicated. And I am kind of nostalgic about how IIT got started. So I'll always put this photograph here. The topic is, future of work. How do we stay relevant? And okay. I just wanted to take half a minute to recognize that IIT Delhi Alumni Association recently, since the leadership change, has really come up with new initiatives. And this initiative called Sarthi, which is really initiative for placement guidance. How do we help our students and possibly even alumni to be connected to the career marketplace? And I applaud Mukesh Patra and others, and Rakesh Bansal and others who have started initiative in that area. And I'm sure we'll hear more from them. Briefly about myself, I already, it's been covered, so I'm gonna skip that. And I'll try to keep the presentation very brief because my ideas are only 3-4. And after that, we'll tackle most of it in the Q&A session, which is usually more productive. So big concern is taking shape, as automation comes, what happens to the jobs? I have had the luck and honor of being laid off several times in my career throughout my life. So I have become more used to it and actually has become a very positive thing for me. When something doesn't work out, how do you pick up the pieces and figure out how you're going to go from there? So I think all of us have to be ready for that. So it's a small effort in that direction to share with you. But historically, this is not new. Historically, we've gone through similar disruptions in past 3 centuries. Industry 1.0 in like 1700s, and mechanization, steam, and water power, which started in UK. Then mass production of electricity about 100 years ago, primarily centered in US. And electronic and IT system at automation around 50 years ago, again, US, but now global. And we are currently going through the 4.0, where cyberspace and physical is coming together. And at every such change, there has been a lot of disruption. People who had cushy jobs, comfortable, they were not sure what to do next. So I like this photograph, horse in 1914, a carriage right next to automobile next to carriage. We are kind of going in that direction. Some of us will have the horse buggy skills, but what will be required will be automobile skills. So how do we get something out of that? And how, who is likely to survive and even thrive? I love this quotation by Charles Darwin. It's very old, but it's still very inspiring. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, not the most intelligent. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. I have absolutely found this to be very true in my career with myself as well as people around me. So I would encourage all of you to really think about it, make it a kind of a guru mantra, and say, how do we get ready for change? So before I step into 3-4 slides, which I have put my ideas, Professor Sen has already spoken about the technical education. I think some of us will probably carry that. I'm going to be focusing a little bit on the other things, which is with more automation, what skills are going to be in demand, which are really machines cannot do, which in my opinion are soft skills, including things like time management, networking, teamwork, creative thinking, conflict resolution. There's another graphic which are like, hard skills versus soft skill. Hard skills are, proficient, foreign language, some certificate, typing, machine operation, etc., programming, which is extremely required because without hard skill, you can't really have much useful soft skill, but other soft skills are also important. And that is where I would encourage everybody to have a balance between hard skill and soft skill. For example, I have the hard skill of being fluent in Japanese language, but just being able to speak, read, write is not enough. So the soft skill is basically, I know how to build relationship with Japanese companies, how to understand their mindset and create an environment of trust where they feel comfortable doing business. So taking a hard skill and figuring out how do you convert into a soft skill which is relevant to you and you can become valuable. That will be my high level point. I will discuss 3-4 things. Communication skills. Communication is not about just being able to, but really how do you think, how do you listen to people, and how do you speak, and also communicate non-verbal. This is a completely full topic in itself, but basically you being able to create an environment so that you and others are able to communicate with each other fully to get something done, because it's all about getting things done, getting results. So if you have hard skills but you're not able to get things done, is communication a hurdle for you? Please think about that. And number 2 is, emotional intelligence. This is a negative slide. I would have preferred positive, but this is the best I could find. We know of among all the people who are very smart, but they are argumentative. They don't listen. They blame others. They have outbursts. Such people, even if they have technical skills, their overall value really goes down a little bit. So constantly figuring out how do you get feedback from people around you, from your bosses, from your friends, from your colleagues, even from your children, if you're an alumni or grew up, how we can become better emotionally intelligent. And this area has been very well covered under called emotional quotient, EQ, and I encourage you to look at that. One important thing in my opinion, which I have found, is networking. And why am I talking about? Why is it relevant to you? I could not find a good slide, good graphic on that, so I'm just going to talk to it. Many people consider this to be the definition. Networking is attending social or business after hour events, shaking hands, collecting business cards of powerful people, and of course, giving your cue cards of your own to other people, and hopefully getting something out of it when you're looking for a job. Somebody else has defined, which I like better, which is networking is a deliberate activity to build, reinforce, and maintain relationships of trust with other people to further your, and I would add, others' goals also. One basic thing which I don't necessarily hear about, but would like to share with you is build meaningful networks. Focus on others for help when they need you. So networking doesn't mean you go and get help. Networking means you be a part of a network where you're always available, often available for others when they need you. And yes, when you need some help, some of them, or even the people whom you don't know, may end up helping you. So networking is not really about taking, it's about giving, which is going to make a strong and meaningful network. Just one slide on student focused, because a lot of students will be focused on finding the right job, etc. Campus interviews are only one way, but focus on professional and personal network, and definitely get engaged with IIT Delhi Alumni Association. Alumni are a great resource. And frankly, having gone to business school in US, Northwestern University Kellogg School of Management, this is where I was really first time exposed to what alumni network can do for you and you can do for them. So today, somebody from my alumni association approaches me, I always make time for them. Similarly, I think you should register in IIT Delhi Association, and Rakesh or others can probably talk about, Mukesh can talk more about it, and see how you can reach other alumni and make yourself available and take the help from other people also. Already, okay. And I just a couple of more things. It all started IIT Delhi. Frankly, I did not study very hard. My GPA was very low, relatively speaking, but I spent more time in IIT Delhi, Pratibha Hindi magazine. I was the editor. I was the camp secretary for National NSS, and I was involved in Hindi Samiti. And the skills which I gained through that time really helped me a lot in leadership, communication, empathy, how to deal with others, and how to get things done. So I encourage you, if you're a student and you're only studying, please get out of the books or whatever coursework and do something else also. Yes, and I would say even alumni need to do the same thing. Beyond the work, they need to go out and do something else. Be a part of some network, not only IIT Delhi Association, maybe their professional group, maybe their some charitable group, and make yourself available, do something, and you will see that returns will come to you at some point. So keep calm and keep learning. This has happened before and it'll happen again, the automation thing. So we shouldn't have to worry too much about. Final practical tip for you. Schedule things which you really want to get done. Stephen Covey famously said this. So you can't really organize your schedule. You have to schedule things which are really important. So commit to learning every day, even setting aside 15 minutes a day to learn is going to add up a lot. So, for example, I have been connected with Japan many years. I did not have the luxury of studying Japanese formally in university. I got a job and I came here without really knowing anything. But for many years, I just find, even sometimes 5 minutes or 10 minutes to study the language. And whenever I'm interacting with my Japanese colleagues, friends, customers, if I have a question, I ask them and I learn them, I thank them. And over the years, my language and kind of understanding of the language, people, society has improved. So whichever area you feel you're weak, just commit a certain time, 15 minutes a day, every day. And before you know, you'll become very proficient in that. Thank you. Arigato gozaimasu. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sachin. That was really helpful and in fact very nostalgic for me as well. Thank you for your time. Now we have our next speaker with us, Mukul Saxena. So Mr. Mukul Saxena is the head of training, content and technology at Tata Power Skill Development Institute. He plays an integral role in the growth of training and skilling initiatives for the Tata Power Company by leading in the domain of power generation, transmission, distribution, and aligned industries. His integrated development of engineering, in structural design, and information technology expertise is a unique combination that leverages experience over 35 years. To engineer creativity and scaling creative teams is his passion. He has achieved tremendous business growth for his organization successfully over the years through designing and implementing the simplest initiatives. His goal is to be effective in leveraging the huge potential of individuals in creative, self-directing teams in meeting development objectives. The focus is to demand, simplify, and accelerate. Welcome to the forum, Mukul Saxena. Over to you. I think there's some technical issue. The video is paused.
Yeah, the system is hanged. Oh.
Okay, I think rest of us are able to participate.
Yeah, I think for the time being, we can move to our next speaker. Okay, so the next we have with us is Rakesh Kumar Bansal. He is my fellow EC member and the convener of the IIT Delhi Alumni Fest as well. He is BTech Civil Engineering 1985, Jwala Hostel. He is an infrastructure consultant and has worked as business head of urban infra at Feedback Infra Private Limited in his past years. Welcome. Mukul, I think you are there.
Mukul has joined back. I think
yeah,
let him continue.
Yeah, you can start.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I lost the connection. But thank you. Thank you for...
Just when you started to speak. Yeah.
So are you able to hear me?
Yes, your audio is clear.
Yes, yes.
And you're also showing how under a change you can immediately pick it up again.
Yes. So basically, I have had the privilege of being educated at IIT Delhi. And that has been, I think, the foundation on which the rest of my career has happened. My career has been a very interesting jigsaw of not only engineering, but also breaking new ground into areas like information technology, which I'm a mechanical engineer. I started in manufacturing, but I went into information technology. From information technology, I went into instructional design and training, developing, designing, training, and developing e-learning, developing computer-based training. All of those, they actually gave me so many different perspectives that it was amazing, and I thank all of us for that, because it is because of all of us that we had it. So very quickly, I'll jump into the changes that have been happening the last few months. It's the COVID that's happened, and what is the future of work? So I'm sharing my slide. I hope you are able to see it. Are you able to see my slide?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So what has changed because of COVID? And I'm going to be talking from the employment side, from the appetite of the industry side. So what has changed due to COVID? Well, it has changed some things completely. It has brought in humility. It has brought in a realization that we are not supreme, and there are things that have control over us, regardless of whether we like it or not. It's something that seems to be making a permanent change. Long-term impact, cultural, as well as interpersonal, social distancing. And one of the things that we've all learned, looking at the kind of business transformations that have been happening, adaptation will be key. So just like there was the quote by Darwin, which said that it is not the strongest that survive, it is the most adaptable. It is the ones who adapt fastest. So survival of the quickest, the most agile, that's going to be very important. And we all need to bring in that agility. And if you look at where we are on the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have had a slowdown on all of them. On the level 3 of Maslow's hierarchy, which is about spreading a social identity, we've had a slowdown on that simply because of the kind of distances that we need to maintain, the way we interact, the way we are talking to each other over the net, through screens. All of this is changing that. Which are the industries most affected? And very quickly, I'm just showing you the industries that have had the greatest impact. And if you look at it, because of different reasons, and these are not the only reasons, there will be more, but this is just to give you a top view of which industries have had the biggest impact. And this impact we are seeing being reversed now. There are many of them that are recovering, which is very good, and they are recovering in different ways. So that is going to happen, but that gives us new lessons. So which are the industries expected to grow? And these are the top few industries that economic forums are talking about, which are the ones most expected to grow. IT infra and services, obviously, we are using IT right now, and there are more people who are going into it. Online content generation and consumption, which includes entertainment and learning. All of that is going to come out. IPR management will become a key industry itself. Pharmaceutical, no doubt about that. Vaccines are a clear evidence of that. Logistics. So we've called it home delivery services, but it is logistics. And all logistic industries are going to grow simply because of the kind of distances we need to keep. Financial industry, it's going to be the foundation of a lot of things because the end result is what the markets will indicate. And essential services will continue because without that, we don't have power. We don't have water. We don't have food. So essential services are definitely going to continue. So what does this mean for the future workforce? So it means that there is change happening. There is change happening, and new skills and attitudes do become important. The point is that we are not able to predict which ones will become important. And therefore, it's important what Sachin was talking about. Some of those soft skills are very important for becoming adaptable. So emotional intelligence, definitely. Thinking, listening, articulating yourself, building a network, definitely, because that's the way your agility will change. So while they seem to be soft skills, but they are actually huge enablers. And I agree with Sachin as well in terms of the impact that these skills make, not just the technical excellence, not our GPA and all of that alone, but how well are we able to work with other people? That's very, very important. So there is going to be professional reinvention again and again. There are there are differences that are going to come in the way businesses are done, in the way business models are structured, and we have to keep reinventing. And learning is very important for that. In fact, there are formal courses that run on how to learn, learning how to learn. Learning how to learn faster than anyone else is what puts you ahead of them. So that's going to be very important. Ultimately, because of the isolation that's happening, because of how we are all changing into more nuclear and more isolated, not only individuals, but okay, even families, we are, or socially, we are becoming more nuclear. There has to be a greater focus on self-reliance. We will have to change our own wheels. We will not be able to get somebody to change our wheel. We may even have to fix our own punctures. We may not be able to have the time or the luxury of access to people who will fix our punctures. So we have to become more self-reliant. And that in the business sense becomes entrepreneurship. So there will be a lot of entrepreneurship. Very quickly, to share the kind of skills that I think are very critical to get into. Leadership skills, you have to have emotional intelligence and emotional leadership as well. Critical thinking and problem solving is one of those core skills that is applicable everywhere. Technology skills, digital and otherwise, undoubtedly. Adaptability to changes, it's an attitude, it's a personality change that we need. If we don't have it, I'm sure we all have a lot of it already. Uh, with all of this adaptability, we also have to be prudent. So we have to have a sense of what is the risk that we are going to manage. Educational qualifications are the bedrock. Not without that, nothing else happens. One of the things that I personally feel, which is the last one, the performance standards. If we are going to compete with the world, which we are, we have to be ahead of the world in every performance standard. And that's something that we have to help Indian industry, help Indian businesses to have the confidence in us to give it to them. I've realized that the Alumni Association, and I'm part of many groups of the Alumni Association, we are one excellent example of how high performance standards should be. We should just let other people see that. So that's basically what I had to share. In terms of next steps, these are a few things that we can do. Raise your awareness, be aware of what is happening. Pursue excellence, and that is the performance standard that we would like. Engage, build your network, set goals. Don't do things ad hoc. Plan for it, schedule it, and finally, be responsible. So that was what I had to share, and I think we'll take more in the questions. So thank you.
Thank you, Mukul. Thank you so much for your time, and that was really insightful. Now I would like to welcome Mr. Rakesh Bansal to share his thoughts on the topic.
Yeah, thanks, Professor Sen, Sachin, Mukul. I mean, mostly you covered most of the issues, but yes, being a civil engineer and from the consulting industry, I would like to present some of my thoughts on the things that are happening. Definitely, the world has changed. I mean, we all know that realty industry, which was once upon a time, which was on the high, is already it was already in a bad shape, but because of the COVID, now everything has been further hit. Same for the construction industry. But as you very rightly said, Mukul, I mean, these are some of the essential services. Construction and infrastructure is something essential, which will go on. I mean, there was a temporary hit, I think, but and it has already started coming on track. So eventually it will take shape. Only some things will have to be changed, and we'll have to see how we can adapt to it. I mean, there's a continuous focus on adaptation in the presentation made by Sachin as well as by you, Mukul. So adaptation is something that we all have to continuously keep on doing, unlearn, learn, relearn, adapt. That is something we'll have to do. Some construction and managerial jobs may be hit, and people will probably have to, especially in our consulting industry, anybody who is directly chargeable to jobs to clients, he will stay, and somebody who is like an overhead or is not directly chargeable, probably he will be under threat. So he will have to think of reskilling or doing new things for himself. I think, but one of the things that I think about construction, about the consulting industries, it can be a win-win for both the companies, consulting companies, as well as for the experts. Maybe the companies will no longer hire people for as a full-time employees. They will rather go in for experts, and they will hire them on need based. Okay, we need a particular water expert for 45 days. Hire him for 45 days, but go for the best in the industry. Pay him extra. So the expert also is free to work anywhere, and he gets his share of money. He gets paid extra, but he has to be best in his work. I mean, when somebody is working full time in a job, probably that skill upgradation and things like that, they take a backseat, and people take their job work for granted. Output is also compromised in several ways. So this is something that probably may take shape in a short span of time. Yes, I mean, reskilling in various ways. Even we see in our houses, I mean, people who are not able to even use a mobile phone properly or internet on the phone, they are using Zoom day in and day out, and they are working everything. So probably we need better bandwidth internet connectivity. Once upon a time, we used to go to the office for better internet connection. Now we are going to our homes to get better internet connection. Probably offices are no longer that well equipped than our homes are. Initially, yes, there was an issue with the homes also, because everything suddenly shifted to home internet. But now people have upgraded themselves. We are able to get good connectivity. Yes, data protection will be an issue if people are working from home. How to make sure that data is properly protected. So have your everything data on the server. Have better storage capacities, IP rights. Those things will have to be taken care of. As far as construction is concerned, yes, some things will have to be physically done, but you have various ways by which you can do surveillance through video. So these are the certain things that we can actually adapt, and we can probably bring things onto a track. I think we are running out of time. We would love to hear from Mukul also. Yeah, Mukesh.
Thank you, Mr. Rakesh. Now I would like to welcome the moderator of today's Q&A session, Mukesh Batra. He is BTech Chemical Engineering 1985 batch. He is the director of Market Scope. He is focused on leadership hiring in IIT, education, telecom, consulting, and engineering verticals. Mr. Mukesh Batra started off as a specialist market research agency focused on IIT and telecom industry, adding senior level hiring for IT and telecom industry. Welcome to the forum, Mr. Mukesh.
Thank you, Natasha. Thank you, Kushal. Thank you, Rakesh. Thank you, Mukul. Thank you, Sachin. So I've been patiently listening, and I have certain set of questions. So because we are running short of time, what I'll do is I will shoot one question and then request each one of you to give your views. And if I have somebody specific in mind, I will just mention the name of that gentleman. Like alumni association and the institute have to work together to achieve the goals of the new future. So I have a query for Kushal specifically, that he has been involved in the mainstream engineering education technology, Eklavya, NPTEL. So if he can give us some ideas on what is relevant in the future, in the current context, as to how good practices can be replicated, and whatever work he has done, how does he look at the education to employability to employment scenario? I would like to hear from you, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I just said the preparedness of the institute and the country as such, because most of the skill development work which is being done by skill development ministry also is online now.
Okay.
And even preparing the courses like which you want to offer as a course, that also should be in collaboration. You'll be happy to note that there are a sufficient number of courses which are being offered in NPTEL as a MOOCs course also. Industry expert also is a partner in development of a courses. For example, you have embedded system, the TIE is also involved in some way or the other, not only providing the infrastructure support, but actually content also. There are many other companies also which are going to do that. Once that kind of thing happens, that means you have everything relevant which is available, and you will be happy to know that anything and everything that is available on the NPTEL site is all free. I mean, learning is free. Even taking your assignment tests also are free. Only when you ask for a certificate, then some proctoring fees is there, because you have to go to a certain thing, you have to do infrastructure study. Therefore, from my point of view, having good experts in various fields who are ready to share their experience through the online system, which is available anytime, every time. The students today are happy in some sense. In some sense, I will say that they don't really have to go at 10 o'clock to the class. They can learn the same thing at night also, when normally they are more comfortable, and then discuss things at a time when everybody is collecting together, like we are collecting together to discuss certain things. So from my point of view, this experiment started from 2003 onwards has proved that a large number of communication of the education as well as the skill development can be done. And I understand that the people are teaching these days how a vaccine can be given to masses and there cannot be a physical contact to teach them. This skilling technique will be used, this technology is going to be used to teach them and make sure that actually they learn. I mean, like the video cameras can be all around and they can say, well, no, you're not doing a good job, try to do this way. So videos as well as almost online instructions. The only thing that I am only finding is that some of the experiments and the labs uh, are going to be more difficult to simulate. Some labs are can be simulated. Like for example, a car driving can be taught. A pilot learns, an automated simulated software. But finally, somebody has to put the things in place. So that is the limitation at the moment. And I think the proctored examination limitation. If learning is the thing, there is no limit at all. Anybody, any age, people can learn. Some of the IITs have started absolutely online degree courses. So you can actually get the full
Do we
degree.
have any data on the engagement or the traction on these portals? Because I have seen these are very good content, very good stuff. But what is the kind of engagement level with respect to the school kids as well as college kids? Do we have any data on that?
Yeah. So no data in terms of, if you look at the MOOCs type of situation, the number of enrollments are, let's say, whatever, about 10 to 12% or 13% people actually give exams. So those who give exam and those who give assignment, they are fully engaged. These courses are run like you release two hours of content every week or 3 hours of content every week, and they have to attempt an assignment every week based on that content. So there is an engagement, but that engagement is a different kind of engagement. You're not expecting them to be online synchronous mode. So they can be anywhere, they could be do. Only thing is, at some stage we believe, no problem, you can consult anything and learn. For example, you have comprehensive stuff. You give a reference to a paper and say, well, read this paper and tell me what are the main thing that the author has told about. So he reads or she reads and talks about it. So examination pattern can change. Testing methods can change. Certification ways can change. Theory becomes quite easy now. But actually finding that the guy actually has full skills, like a surgeon is a surgeon, probably you still have to go to some place where physically the fellow will have to be supervised. But large amount of content can be very easily shared from the very good people. And that's what the NPTEL has done.
There is
Across
no
the world.
content on the skilling part. That's what I was asking.
Yeah, skilling.
Education to employees.
I think
skilling
it
part.
so happened that the IIT is supposed to be doing the higher education. And the skilling probably is happening through various other consulting systems and the ITIs or other certification systems which are doing. Even private companies are also doing the skilling.
Yeah.
Even a main industry also has put certain part of it to do the skilling, and they're participating in the government program, which is different than what I was talking about.
Thank you, Kushal. I have a question for Sachin and Mukul specifically. I have been in the recruitment industry for 32 years, and this is the fourth recession or the pandemic which has come up, which is the biggest of them. And it has created a divide. There are two categories of people. One category is people who don't have jobs. And the second category is people who have more than 3 jobs, always. How do we handle this scenario? Because this is a divide which has been created, and it also has repercussions in terms of mental health. So what is the survival kit of the guys who fall in the not so privileged category?
You go ahead.
Sachin,
Go
go ahead.
ahead, please. Okay.
Achha.
Huh.
Okay. So, okay. Let me share from my experience in Africa. I'm right now in Africa. I'm in Liberia, and we are working here on a project where we are training the technicians and the senior engineers of the electricity utility, the national electricity utility. What we see, and I was discussing this with the executive director of HR from the company yesterday, what we see is that from the audience, about 1/3 of the audience is highly engaged. They're highly engaged. They're highly committed to performing. They're very diligent. Another 1/3 is neutral. They couldn't care less. I mean, they're neutral. They are there because they have to be there, and they are not anti the program, but they are there. And the last third is actually a negative about the program, and they are the ones who spread pessimism. So they spread sort of negative talk about, oh, this nothing will happen. They're trying something. They're actually a detriment to the other 2/3. Now there is always, I remember even back in IIT Delhi when we were there 81 to 85, we used to have these discussions about who should deserve what. And finally, what we have to realize is that there are some people who are not able to work because they don't have the skills for the work that they are looking for. In which case, either they get the skills or they find work that suits their skills. But the will to work has to come from them. And that is very important. Like we said, entrepreneurship is something that is going to be imperative to bring into our attitudes. We will have to take the initiative, each one of us. I mean, the world is not going to reach out to us. We will have to reach out to the world. So, Sachin.
Sorry to interrupt. We will have to, Sachin, just be brief, and we'll have to wind it up in another 1 minute.
Sachin, you're on mute.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Just quickly adding to what was just said, I don't believe there's any entitlement We all are free agents. We have to do what is best for us and plan accordingly. Don't expect companies, anybody to prepare you. You have to be prepared for that. I live in Tokyo. I'm based in Tokyo, Japan. And here, this concept of lifetime employment, which is breaking up big time here right now. It's very hard to change a job. And that's not working out with the economy. And gig economy is here to stay. So some people like to work 3 jobs at a time. Um, Figure out where you fit in, what's your personal lifestyle, what's your professional situation, and prepare yourself. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. I will just like to wrap up on this, that attitude is the key, and we have to be very sensitive to the experience, the last mile to each other, and understand the context of the people who are in work from home mode. Thank you very much.
Thank you everyone for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Rakesh, you are on mute.
Thank you, Professor.
Thanks a lot.
Sachin. Thanks, Rakesh.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Mukesh.
Thank you.
Thanks, Natasha.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
everyone.
Natasha.
Thank you.